What's going on, y'all? Welcome to Sensible or Cynical Reviews. My name is Sean, and today I have my fairy dust out because we are going to talk about Gretel and Hansel. You know, the remake, and of course they can't call it Hansel and Gretel. That would be too, boring. So they got to go crazy and call it Gretel and Hansel. So this is going to be awesome. I have a special guest on the line with me, Fear Ennis. He's an awesome podcaster, and he's been on the show before, but it's been a while. So here we go. Enjoy. And with me on the line, he is a friend of the podcast and fellow genius podcaster, Fear Ennis. What's up?
Hello, what's going on, man?
Chilling. Just another day.
That's a good intro. I like that.
Yeah, man. Just another day in paradise, on the mic,
Hell yeah.
So tell me about what you got going on now. I know you said that you have some new shows lined up.
Yeah, so we had a falling out with our producer and co-host, Razor. So he was on Fifth Cast and did a lot of stuff with FYFC Studios. We ended up having a falling out, and we don't even speak anymore. MDI and I have started a couple new shows, and we're getting our shit together. Like, you can hear me and her, we do The World According to Fear and MDI, or as we like to call it, Twat FM. And, we just bullshit about our daily life, personal stories, anything else that's going on.
Yeah.
And we've had some guests on, and eventually maybe we'll get your ass on there.
Yeah, man, anytime, just hit me up. But I feel like that's more common than it's ever been. People that start podcasts and just, shoot the shit about whatever. That used to be not as common, but I feel like nowadays with everything going on in the world that people are just starting up podcasts left and right about whatever,
Oh yeah, man. Like we got started back in 2013, and there was only a handful of shows that were kind of going at the time, and it did feel slightly original, the kind of things we were doing. Like we would do skits and bullshit like that. And now, fuck, you throw a rock and hit 10 podcasts.
Yeah, well, what's funny was I like to equate it society and culture, that term, to communications in college as a major, It's like when you don't know how to define the podcast, put society and culture. When I was in college, it was well, what are you going to do with the communications degree? I don't know, drink.
Yeah, exactly, man. Well, and it's so weird now. You see TV shows and different movies, they all have a character that's a podcaster. Even the Halloween that came out in 2018, it started off with two people that were a true crime podcast. And now it's to the point where I'm just oh, fuck. What the hell?
Yeah, man. Well, let's get to the topic at hand today, Gretel and Hansel. So you said you saw this not too long ago?
Yeah, dude, it's funny. I watch a lot of horror movies while MDI is sleeping, so I kind of watch this with, almost no sound the first time, and I was like, what the fuck? I actually watched this piece of shit twice.
Yeah.
Because I had to see, I was like, there's no way it's this bad. I actually want to hear it. There's got to be a reason I'm not getting it. Maybe the fucking score. No, I watched fucking twice for no reason.
It is terrible. Sensible or Cynical Reviews, you could probably guess. I don't want to spoil the ending, but you can probably guess what I'm leaning towards giving it. But what's crazy about it is there's absolutely no budget, $5 million budget. So they went over by default. They made money by default.
Yeah, that's what a lot of folks are doing. I felt like they were trying to really capitalize on movies like The Witch that has more a time period where I get in arguments all the time on fucking podcasts. I'll fight you. No, The Witch is a good fucking movie. It's not like this.
Yeah, well, I like Gretel was played by, the chick from It, Sophia Lillis. She was in It.
Sophia Lillis,
yeah, she was in It, and then I think the second one, right?
Yep.
And then they just grab some kid for Hansel. Sammy something. Grab some kid.
Yeah, and that's what's always tough with kids, right? A lot of kids can't fucking act, and no offense to Samuel Leakey, but dude, you got to get your chops up. I know you're just I don't know, 7 or something, but carry the movie, motherfucker.
They made up some. I was looking at his IMDb, and he did some other bullshit right around this time. But I mean, he's a young kid. How old is he?
Oh, I don't know. He's pretty young, man. But
Yeah.
I'm busting his chops. I'm sure he's fucking better than I am, but.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about that, Fear. You're you're the man here. Let's talk about, I guess we can talk about the plot. Everyone knows the plot of Hansel and Gretel, but I found it interesting how they went kind of quick in the beginning, too. It's like, how about you talk about more, with this job as like a housekeeper? It's like one scene where she tried to get a job as a housekeeper from this dude. And then,
and it was just, I don't know. And that's, fuck, man, there's so many movies that have this.
So wait a minute, who the fuck was this guy? Was this some random guy in England somewhere? Like, do you know?
Yeah, he was just some guy that her mom said she was going to go be a fucking housekeeper, but really he was looking for some ass.
Yeah.
And then she goes home and she's like, Mom, I'm not going to sell my pussy. And your mom's like, get the fuck out.
So I must have missed the next part, but there was I think I saw a little bit where there was some guy that they stayed with for the first night.
Yeah, so they end up at some weird fucking
I must have
house
missed that.
Has there's like a ghoul in the house that chases them out. And the dude who's the huntsman, which kind of, that's all that, they have all the lore of like the grim fairy tales, but it's like they just fucking jizzed all over it. They didn't write any of it to make any sense. So then there's a ghoul, he kills them, they sit and they eat with this dude. Nobody talks about the fact that there was like an undead ghoul thing living in there. They just move on past it by eating some grub.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then what did she throw at the house? Was it a rock when she got to this lady's house?
It was like a giant boulder.
Yeah. The old lady that came out, she's a pretty good actress. She was in Chariots of Fire. So she's pretty legit.
No, she got chops.
Yeah, she was good. But you can't...
Yeah, that whole scene didn't make sense because they got the fat little kid in, and then instead of just either go in with him, or two, just go in the same way she runs over and grabs this fucking boulder and whips it out a window that doesn't break. Like, what the fuck is going on?
I know it kind of sucks, but if there is any part that you liked, what was it?
I like the scene where the kids do mushrooms. I thought that was interesting.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was awesome.
Also had, like, really no point to the plot, just like, some kids on mushrooms, but...
Yeah.
We talked about beforehand, the ending is solid, but it's not worth the fucking wait.
Juice isn't worth the squeeze, or whatever the bullshit saying is.
Yeah.
But yeah, the best parts are obviously the end, when Gretel trips out. And Hansel just disappears. Where the fuck did he go?
Oh yeah, that fucking kid.
She's like, and then I always loved the nonverbal from the old bitch when Gretel was like, "Oh, that food's staying out for a long time." Blah blah blah. It's like it's like Eartha Gretel. She's a fucking witch or some shit, you know.
She's not fucking with preservatives, man.
It's like all this shit, dude. And here I am. I couldn't sleep last night, so I watched it this morning, half asleep.
That's probably good enough, man.
I was like, oh shit, I'm doing a podcast with Fear. I guess I gotta watch the movie first. Shit. And I'm like, oh my god. So obviously the reviews weren't like great, but I'm actually surprised they got 65% on Rotten Tomatoes. They need to fire some of those guys they let review on there. Because no way in hell that's a 65.
There's no way that motherfucker's 65.
The audience shit on it on there, 23, but like, it had good cinematography. There was good cinematography.
No, and it was, and that's what I mean. Like, it did have all the elements of a good, like, grim horror folklore fucking thing. It's just like, I don't know, it ended up more like a monkey fucking a coconut. I don't know what the hell they were doing.
Yeah, no doubt, man. And then obviously, like I said, it has to be the longest 87-minute film of all time.
Yeah.
Like, me going to the bathroom would be more entertaining than the middle of that film, bro.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. If somebody out there wants to watch it, you just skim through it. You can do it all.
Well, that's why we're doing this review, so people can be like, oh yeah, or they can watch it on mushrooms themselves.
There you go. That's the only way it's entertaining. So.
Yeah. All right, so obviously we're both gonna go cynical here, right? Obviously. Do you think they did the folklore tale justice, or do you think they made it like just look shitty? And what's up with this a grim fairy tale like subtitle? Like,
because that's all they can hold on to. They're hoping people that enjoy the Grimm fairy tales will enjoy it. It's fluff. It's all horseshit. Like I think they had all the elements. They just didn't have a solid enough story. Like you said, there's scenes that don't need to be there, but really it's a fairy tale. So as it is, they have to stretch out.
you think they rushed it? I mean, this came out like before COVID. Really, this came out January, I think 31st. So they can't blame COVID on this.
Or just not very well written.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of COVID and everything, how are you guys holding up in Canada?
Things are good, man. They just passed a couple of laws here in Edmonton and Calgary that all public, anytime you're like in a public building, you have to wear a mask now, which most people are doing anyway.
Well, I'm in Florida, so you can probably guess how I'm doing.
Yeah, I saw a post the other day, and I think it was from The Onion, but they talked about how The Onion was going under because they can't make up stories as crazy as real life right now.
That's what happened is people were so antsy about the leveling off that when the first curve went flat, everyone let their guard down and became stupid, and it went right back up. So I hope that doesn't happen again now that we have a leveling off, but it's America, so...
It's just so tough. Like, you guys, you're just not taking care of yourselves. Like, let it level off, and then keep fucking social distancing, wear the masks, and protect each other. It will fucking chill out until we can get a vaccine or something.
New York's governor, a lot of people shit on him, but I think he did about as good as he could, you know. So what was the other podcast I saw that you were doing? The horror, what's the one you're talking about? The other one you're doing?
Oh, yeah. So I've got another one. It's called Horror in the Pit. So it's just like kind of what I was doing with Fearcast. I'm going to interview people from metal bands and horror movies, directors, actors, that sort of thing. And that's just getting off. Actually, I just recorded one earlier today with the vocalist of Traverse the Abyss out of Scranton, PA. And I don't know, it was really fun. I had a lot of really awesome guests when I did it on Fearcast, so that's why I want to bring it back. It's just an easy way to talk about shit that I love, which is horror movies and metal music, and to talk to people from all over the world. Like I've talked to bands from Australia, Russia, Germany, like all over.
Wow. All right, man. Well, any last thoughts on Gretel and Hansel? Or no?
As much as I liked the chick from It, she did a great job. I mean, it's a shit movie. Don't bother.
All right, man. What's the social medias for all that good stuff you got going on?
For sure, you can head over. Actually, we just launched patreon.com/fearandmdi, and that's got links to everything, our stuff that we're doing on YouTube and our podcast and stuff. And like the podcast will always be free, but there's a ton of extras over there if you want to check it out.
I appreciate you coming on for this quick review, and it's good catching up, man.
No, hell yeah, man. Anytime. Anytime you want to watch a shitty movie, invite me.
Good shit. Have a good one.
Yeah, you too, brother.
All right, man. See you. Okay, there you have it. Our review of Gretel and Hansel. You can check us out on Twitter at Cynical Sensibly, Instagram Sensibly Cynical Pod, and you can check out our Facebook group. If you could please subscribe, rate, and review us on iTunes, would be highly, highly appreciated. And
once again, this has been a Cynical Review.